Good morning and welcome to the JagCorner. Just turn that music down on the Jag. We are going to be running the VLM today while I paint. I'm sorry, that while is definitely my Western drawl if I have one, anyways. Matt, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining me this morning. I hope you had a great week, a great weekend. I know I did. Very busy weekend, but it was really good. A lot of good family events that happened. So it was one of my brother's 40th birthday. It was his 40th birthday, and so we did something pretty special for that. So because he's an amazing individual, and so it's definitely worth spending the time celebrating his 40th. And what else happened? Oh, we had a family reunion, which was really good. So I get to see people I do not get to see very often, people that I miss seeing. Just they're a little more far-flung. It's on my mom's side of the family, and in that side of the family, they're a little more far-flung than my dad's side of the family, but everybody moves away eventually, and so the reunions are good to have. But anyways, if you're new here to the JagCorner, or you're watching this after the stream, thanks for joining us as well. Here at the JagCorner, we play Jaguar games and other Atari games. I'm planning on, I want to, and I've mentioned this before, so if you've been here before, heard this already, but I want to do some Atari 800 stuff. I want to actually sit down with a few of my brothers and play some Atari 800 stuff. I want to eventually do some Atari ST stuff on this channel as well. I think I just need to get a SCART cable, and I think I'll be ready to do that. There's a handful of games that I want to play there, but yeah, so we play games. But every other week sometimes, and this isn't consistent, but every other week I also do some programming, or in the case of today, we are going to be doing some painting. And so the few times that I have done this on stream, I've been pretty much working on the same painting, which is a family portrait for the characters, and Audit will be watching, which is one of the games I'm working on. But today we're going to do something a little bit special. I've already started on a piece for... generally to celebrate Atari's 50th birthday this year, or anniversary is probably a better way to put that. And this is particularly for, hopefully, if I finish it in time. I actually need to check the deadline on this, but for Silly Venture, which is the annual demo scene party for the Atari. For Ataris in general. They do open it up for other consoles, but it's primarily for Ataris. But I just found out I had Thomas Neiman, who is involved, contacted me directly and was asking if I might sponsor or just create an entry for the demos for this demo scene party. And so I'm trying to do something. I'm really busy, and we'll get to why I'm really busy here in a moment. Yeah, I got a lot of work on my plate right now, so I'm gonna try to use these streams to get that done. Maybe I'll just use this for all the streams up until I run out of time, basically, to enter something, just so I can get something done. Because I would like to celebrate this event in some way. I wish I had put some thought into this earlier this year. I just didn't think about it. And Atari, they were pushing it fairly early on. I just didn't make the connection that, oh yeah, maybe there will be some opportunity here to add my work to the pile, essentially. So, but yeah, so that's what we do here at the JagCorner. Forgive me as I navigate here between my views and OBS, because this painting I'm trying to record as well for time-lapse purposes, so I can do a time-lapse video later, and I have 2 instances of OBS working, and so I assume everything's working on the viewer's end. It looks like it is, so let me know if there's any problems. I'm kind of expecting problems, because whenever you run 2 instances of OBS, you're gonna run into issues. It just doesn't seem to work very well. Anyways, we'll get to my Twitter here in a moment. Before we do that, again, if you're new here, or if you're not new here and you haven't done this yet, please sign up for the newsletter at JagCorner.com. This way I can contact you directly. You get some access to exclusive content like behind the scenes. I'm hoping to do some deals in the future as well. If I ever finish my game, I would like to do some sort of deal for people on the mailing list. I need to talk to Albert a little bit more about that. I'm going to be Albert's my publisher for that game, and so I'm sure he'll let me work something out for everybody on my newsletter. Anyways, yeah, so there's some stuff there, definitely worth signing up for that. And again, if you're new here, JagCorner.com is kind of our front end for BitJag, which is our development name. And if you want to learn more about the games that we're developing or read about a little bit about the coding we're doing, converting, like for example, converting audio samples and stuff like that. If you want to get into programming a little bit, I'm trying to get some content out for people who are interested in that. I want to do a series of tutorials eventually, and I may do that live. I do have some scripts put together for that, or some outlines. I have some posts put together for written tutorials, and so I can just run the streams based off those. But anyways, I also write some articles about the artwork I'm doing, and that kind of leads us to our first news item. Batani, good to see you. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. If you just barely came in, we're going to be doing some painting today. Before we do that, we're going to cover a few news items here, and one of those is if you've been following the Atari ST to Jaguar ports done by Reboot, done by CJ, Cyrano J in particular. Two that were announced quite a while ago, so over a year ago, were Gods and the Chaos Engine, which are two Bitmap Brother classics for the Atari ST and the Amiga. I believe they were released, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Matt or Batani, I'm pretty sure Chaos Engine and Gods and Xenon 2, which are the games that I know Bitmap Brothers for, I assume that's what they're famous for, were originally done for the Atari ST, and then they were ported to the Amiga. They were definitely, it seems like I've read that they were in the Atari camp back in those days. But again, correct me if I'm wrong on that. That's just, it seems like I've read something. I have this, oh, maybe I'll pull that out here really quick. So they made this awesome book. Let me switch back over here really quick. This awesome book. Sorry about bumping my microphone. It's called The Bitmap Brothers Universe. Check out that artwork. There's the main character from Gods. And then the main character... Oh yeah, Speedball and Speedball 2. Those were probably more popular than the other games, to tell you the truth. But amazing artwork, which I think was done by one of their original artists. I can't remember his name. But very good book. I'm just going to show you a little bit of the interior. There's these really cool sections with actual screenshots, and you will not be able to see it here on stream, but they ran these images through a filter that are supposed to simulate that Atari ST CRT look. I kind of wish that they had corrected the aspect ratio so they matched, because pixels on the Atari ST monitor in medium or low resolution aren't square. And so they, for some reason, they didn't correct for that here. But anyways, really cool stuff. There's all the portraits for Speedball. Really good book. Definitely worth picking it up. I believe, I think it's Bitmap. Oh, no. It's ROM. Oh, who published this? I'm pretty sure they have copies if you want to get them. Very good reading, too. The interviews are direct, brand new interviews for this book from the Bitmap Brothers and other people who were involved. Very good. Has a very well done book, and I love, it kind of has this raw, this is the cardboard that's usually inside of a book cover, and they kind of just left it bare. Really cool spine. Almost feels like this was handmade. Very, very cool. book. I haven't finished it. I'm probably about a quarter of the way through. I've been reading through it for back to what we were talking about. There we go. Let me jump back over to what we were talking about. I don't even know what I was saying. I lost my track of thought. Anyways, oh yeah, I've been reading it for. I'm the one who will be redoing some of the artwork, which is, to be honest, I don't know if I'm completely comfortable with that. But I didn't want to miss this opportunity to create artwork that was tied in with some of my favorite games on the Atari ST, and so I'll find the initial announcement here. It should be down here somewhere. There's Mace Windu. Right here. Gods and Chaos Engine are set to make their debut at the 2022 Portland Retro Gaming Expo in mid-October. Here are 2 new trailers for the game. New packaging for both Gods and Chaos Engine is being designed by William Thorup, who's created beautiful artwork for some of our previous Jaguar releases, including Jeff Mentor Classics, Rebooted, Last Strike, Gravitic Minds, and the Dr. Typo collection. Anyways, so yeah, I'm redoing the box art for these games. Yeah, it's a really cool opportunity. I want to thank Albert for thinking of me on this. So it's awesome to be involved with these old games in some way. You know, I wasn't old enough to appreciate the age in which these games were played. I played them later on in the 90s, in the mid to late 90s. When I was around 7 or 8 years old, but they had a huge impression on me. I kind of wish I was born, you know, about 15 years earlier, so I really could have appreciated them. But I'm appreciating them in a different way now. So, and the opportunity to do artwork inspired by these games is an awesome opportunity. I really appreciate the opportunity. So, anyways, look forward to that. That's coming up. There's a few other things I tweeted about that I just wanted to mention really quick to people on the stream in case you're not on Twitter following this stuff. Zero Page Homebrew, which is another YouTube and Twitch channel, I believe, that they do a lot of live streams for Atari in general, Atari related stuff in general. They're doing a Atari 2600 45th anniversary classic gaming countdown, which they're going to be playing every single Atari 2600 game. Classic Atari 2600. See, and I don't know how they're going to do this. There's so many darn games, but they're going to do it somehow. Anyways, you can watch that live. It looks like the first stream. Oh, that's how they're doing it. They're doing it over a series of, what is that, 2 months, 2 or 3 months, July through September, June, July, August, September. So 2 months, it looks like. So yeah. Look forward to that. If you're into the 2600 games, that should be a blast. They're a lot of fun to listen to. I assume it's him and his wife. I can't remember either of their names now. I just spaced them. So maybe somebody in the chat can fill in. But I have other books from Bitmap Books. They have an excellent catalog of game compendiums to help people learn about games from the past. Yeah. So yeah, is it Bitmap Books? It has to be Bitmap Books. So, and that was the first thing that came to mind when I was talking about that. But yeah, they have a great collection. I have a few. They did, I think I have a Commodore 64 book. And then there's one other I got, and they're all really, really well done. Top quality. Definitely worth supporting them if you're interested in having something physical to preserve that history. Definitely worth the investment at Bitmap Books. So yeah, so Zero Page Homebrew, that's happening tomorrow. So that the first stream was yesterday, and I assume they're going to be streaming almost every day in order to do that, because that's a lot of games. That has to be over 1,000 games. I don't know. Does anybody know how many 2600, like official 2600 games? Official 2600 games has to be well over 500. And that doesn't include all the homebrew that's been released for the last 25 years, around 25, 30 years. So that's a lot of games. Anyways, I don't think there's... Oh, yeah, one more thing. If you are in the UK, I I know things are a little more expensive, a little bit harder to get a hold of because of Brexit. Things changed in that regard. Albert is now selling gravitic mines on eBay, which simplifies the process of getting that. You will be paying a little bit extra for that, so be mindful of that, of course, but you have access to it now. Definitely, we've played gravitic mines here on the stream. Check the backlog if you want to see me playing it. I have nothing but high marks for that game. And I may be too bold to say this, but it's probably one of the best homebrews that has come out on the Jag. It is pretty darn impressive, a lot of fun, hard as nails. It's not your typical. It's definitely going to kick you in the pants. It's difficult, especially if you aren't used to those games. It took me a little while to get, so I felt like I was competent enough to get through the levels after 7 or 8 tries. But it's very gratifying once you figure it out. Very well made game. So definitely pick that up if you haven't already. Oh yeah, and this is probably the last thing. Albert is back, and so if you aren't in the UK, or if you are in the UK, he is shipping again, and he's prepping games. That he was gone for like over 40 days, just traveling everywhere. Took a very long form vacation, took a break, a well-deserved break. Albert works really, really hard on this stuff. Yeah, he has I like to think I have a decent work ethic. He is godlike. That's his work ethic is very, very, he's very well disciplined. And so and we're all very grateful that he's doing that. So, I remember a few years ago when I finally finished watching every single Atari 2600, 5200, and 7800 game. Some amazing games. I believe there are around 470 games for the Atari 2600. Wow. I would have expected it to be a lot more than that. But, because they sold it for clear up to 1990. Is that what they said? 92? Yeah, that because it was December or January 1st, 1992 when they drop support or something like that, around there. Albert will soon have his VAT number for the UK, so we'll be able to repay all VAT and prepay all VAT and charges soon. So yeah, and I assume he'll have that all set up on his website, so it's a little more direct. But it's good to have that eBay option for sure. I know he's talked about that for a while, and I know people have been frustrated with that. So good that he's getting that all figured out. It's a shame that the VAT stuff has to be so bureaucratic. So much. That's the best word for it, because it's just a bureaucracy that just slows that stuff down. And hopefully you can get through that. But anyways, I think that's enough for news. So we aren't going to be working on the artwork for Gods and Chaos Engine, but that's one of the reasons why I am so busy over the next month. Is goal of mine and Albert's is to get that all done before August 15th, which is pushing it, I think, a little bit. And my guess is we will probably go past that a little bit, but we're gonna shoot for that. It'd be awesome to get that all done. I want to make sure that the artwork is I'm selfish, primarily something I'm happy with. So, and I do, when I rush things, I can do really good work. I've noticed that with my motion graphics work that I do. My illustration work, I try to take a little more time. But I have been thinking about this for quite a while. At least the Gods artwork, the Chaos Engine artwork, I haven't put as much thought into it. But I'm hoping that, and I'm pretty sure this will happen, is as I work on the Gods art, that the Chaos Engine art will spring forth from that work as well. The ideas for that, and so my feeling right now for the artwork for those two games is that they will be somewhat related visually, because they are related from a genetic standpoint, because they're both Bitmap Brother games. They're both released relatively close to each other, so I want the artwork to kind of have a similar feel between the two games. So anyways, yeah, enough about that. What we're working on today, let me switch over to it here. I have my switcher set up, but it's doing funny things because I have 2 instances of OBS running right now. So I have to go directly to the instance I want to change and shift over to it. So I am doing, I have one of my gals here, and she is surrounded by her Atari life, and so I'm trying to fit as many Atari consoles, well, not really, I'm trying to get a variety of Atari consoles in the scene, but she's just sitting there, and all the monitors are going to be on, so that's what's going to light the scene. But Atari during the second generation of gaming had a very different licensing system from the modern age systems created later by Nintendo. As a result, there were a flood of games. Yeah, and for those who aren't familiar with that history, and again, I'm oversimplifying things here, and Vitani, this great little explanation, is in the early 80s, because of that looseness in terms of what could be released as a quote-unquote video game, was part of the reason why there was a video game crash in that time. And that crash did a lot of damage to not only Atari but other companies. And Nintendo, in a lot of ways, I don't want to say saved the industry, but shifted it to its next paradigm, into its next form with the licensing stuff, which kind of forced people. And here's the thing, there's still a lot of really garbage NES games out there. But that standard was, I think, a good push in getting games to not only keep up with the pace of technology, but with the natural evolutions of games as an artwork, as an art form. And so there's I like to think of it as the difference between cave paintings and I don't want to say like Renaissance art, because it's not even that. So maybe like old Greek sculpture and mosaics and things like that. Is that there's obviously a quality different, a different expectation from the audience that was consuming that art, and so it needed to be higher quality. And artists, they're there to push boundaries too. And Atari, unfortunately, as they could be considered a great innovator because they invented an industry, right? But they kind of lost that vision of being innovative, because they made so much money off the 2600, and every time it seemed like they tried to break away from that, their audience wouldn't let them. Maybe. Again, I wasn't there. I haven't read a whole lot about this, to be honest, but that's my impression based on what I've read. And so, and again, there was a lot of things happening in the background with the company too. I don't want to dig myself too much into a hole here, because I really don't know a whole lot about it, but it just seems like that desire to be innovative slowly got put in a closet. And so other companies easily came in and filled in that innovative niche that needed to happen in video games, because video games had a long way to go, and they still have a long way to go in terms of development, especially if you think of it in regards to how art has changed over the last 400 or 500 years since the Renaissance. Basically, there's a lot of future for artwork to pass through before it really matures, and before video games to pass through before it matures into something that is, I don't want to say doesn't innovate anymore, but is can be considered a very diverse art form. And it's amazing what we've seen already. I mean, fidelity in video games is amazing. So I like to think that we've kind of hit that Renaissance period in terms of, at least from a visual standpoint, with video games, where they're very high fidelity, which is an aspect of games. It isn't what makes a game. It's just one aspect of it, and so it's cool to see that. Anyways, I could ramble about this forever, but let's get painting. So the sketch is almost done on this. I started this about a week ago, I think. I think it's been about a week. Not sure. Let me check something really quick. I just want to make sure this is recording. Yeah, it is definitely recording. Hopefully I don't run into any issues here, because it says it's already 3 gigs big. I hope that isn't true. It probably is. So hopefully I don't run out of space on my OS partition. We'll find out. We'll be fine. The stream will crash if that happens, so we should be fine though. Let me check one more thing before we get started. Huh. Oh, you guys can't actually hear it. 1 second. I'm gonna copy a couple things over from my other scenes here. Copy to graphics. There we go. I wanted a little bit of music playing in the background today, in case the conversation dries up. I don't think it will. There's a lot to talk about, especially with Atari. It's interesting to see what Atari's doing now, and maybe somebody can fill me in on this. I've heard that Atari has new leadership. I don't follow it that closely, to be honest. I kind of... Atari as it is today is in my peripheral vision. I haven't been focusing on it too much. But this 50th anniversary thing, I probably should be focusing on it a little bit more. So, something I forgot to mention. So with Silly Venture, which is happening here in about a month, yeah, there's multiple sponsors for it. Atari Age is a sponsor. There's a whole host of sponsors. But what's special about this year is this is the first year that Atari has directly sponsored the Silly Venture demo party. And that's a big deal because there's a lot of talent there, and I like to imagine that Atari's looking for talent that's not only talented but also interested in the brand Atari in order to innovate, to find a new foothold for Atari. And again, this is kind of a pipe dream, I think, still, but you never know. So, but I'm picking up static over your mic. I might need to plug in my headphones. So this mic is a little bit tricky. Let's see here. Let me check my levels. Thanks for letting me know. I'm showing 0 on my levels. Do you still hear it? Is it only when I talk? There is music playing in the background. Maybe that's what you're hearing. So, sometimes that chiptune stuff can, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so this happens. So when I touch the mic, there will be a hum. I have some sort of 60 hertz grounding issue, and I still haven't figured it out. And so if I touch the mic, like, you'll notice it here, it'll start humming. And if I let go, it should disappear. So, I'll try not to mess with my mic too much. Yeah, let's get to painting. So there's a few things I need to fix here. I noticed, first of all, her foot's not landing in the right place down here. So we're going to start over with that. Just going to rotate it out a bit. Like that. That feels a bit better already. Also, this leg is a little too far up. So we're going to just cut that out and move it down. Yeah, so my... that's going to feel a little bit better right there, I think. I wanted to get at least all the consoles that I grew up with, and I'm pretty sure I've played most Atari consoles at one point or another. But I wanted to make sure I featured prominently the things that I enjoyed the most. So I have my ST here in the background, and then I have my Jaguar up here, which will be connected to this screen. But the 2600 will be up here. I'm not worried about the 5200 or the 7800. Of course, they have their groups, people who enjoyed those consoles, but I didn't have a whole lot of experience with those myself. And so I'm not going to feature those prominently. I will have the Atari 800 here. And then, yeah, the Atari Links will be down here. I am going to do a... it's an Atari Stacy. Is it the Stacy? It was one of the laptops. I think it was the little pocket organizer that was used by John Connor in Terminator 2 to hack that ATM at the beginning of the movie. And so that will be there because that's kind of iconic even outside of Atari. I have an arcade back here in the top left, which will be an Asteroids arcade cabinet. You won't be able to see much of it, but it will be there. And then obviously I have this this rotated Atari symbol in the background running across the wall. And I'm not sure what I kind of kept this space open because maybe in the future I'll do an actual game demo where I can squeeze this aspect ratio. So take this section right here and delete that and shift everything over so I can do a 4:3 aspect ratio. And then run a scroller right here. In the final illustration, I was thinking I may do... so Atari has their 50th anniversary logo, and I don't know if I want to copy that because of legal reasons, but I may do something similar where there's just a 50, running, like sitting right here or something. But I'm going to leave that for later in the illustration. We'll be fine leaving it for later because we can add some lighting and other stuff later. But it'll be a great year for Atari with the massive anniversary celebration, and a terrible year for competitor and television as the Amico has now completely collapsed. Yeah, so that's another thing. I've only been following, again, in the peripheral is the Amico thing, and the only thing I've been tuned into on that is Pat and Ian. Pat, the NES punk, he's a longtime YouTuber that's been doing NES stuff, and apparently there was some drama with Atari Age and stuff. I don't know the details, and honestly, I don't want to get into it. It's a shame that these groups can't coalesce in a way that it works for not only them financially, but also for the fans involved. But oh yeah, the Atari portfolio. The Stacy was the laptop, wasn't it? I know there was one laptop that they did. It's definitely quite rare. But so with this painting, I'm going to be keeping the actual painting part of it pretty loose. I want to do a looser, more expressive technique on this. So the viewer can fill in the gaps. I want them to spend a little time. I don't want things to communicate immediately. I still want them to communicate fairly clearly, but I want people, when they look at this, they're like, pretty sure that's an ST in the back. And it'll be obvious because the green desktop will be there. But like the ST, they'll be like, oh, that's an ST, and they'll look over here and they'll see, the console for an Atari 800 where it says, where there's an empty console there that says ready, and people will recognize that. And just keep my brush strokes really loose. We'll get started on that here today. I just wanted to, get a general fix for that leg. I'm still not completely happy with it. The perspective still feels a little bit off on it. But I think it's good enough. Once I get painting, it'll feel a bit better. She has these kind of almost Converse-like shoes. Don't like that. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Atari's that 50th celebration compilation that they'll be releasing. That's going to be really cool to see all those games released all at once. The main reason why I'm interested in it is because of the I can't get a straight line on that. Is for the Jaguar games. Jaguar and the Atari Links games, because this is the first time that they've attempted to re-release any of those games. And it's awesome because yes, the Links probably did better than the Jag if I had to imagine. I don't know for sure if it did or not, but the Jaguar didn't do very good, and for good reasons it didn't do very good. There are some good games on there, and people would argue that the games that they are putting on there aren't very good. And so for some of them I would have to agree. The fact that it's getting any attention is pretty darn important from a preservation standpoint, and so I appreciate that effort that they're putting in there. So, but I actually need to look up an image here of the Stacy. Thanks for telling me what that is. It's one of the few. It'd be cool to find somebody here nearby that actually had a Stacy or the Atari Portfolio. Sorry, the Atari Portfolio. That's what you showed me. If I can find my darn... There it is. Atari Portfolio. I have an image of it in my mind, but I don't think it's correct. Yeah. I was actually thinking the speaker was on the right side, but it's actually on the left side. So... yeah, okay. Pretty straightforward. So we got a speaker right there. We have a screen. Screen goes like this. And then its hinge is in the center. I should have done a warm-up this morning. Feel like I need to warm up for this. And you know, I think that's good enough. It has this chiclet style keyboard, which was kind of not seen very often. The ZX Spectrum, I believe, had a chiclet style keyboard. Anyways, so there's our Atari Portfolio. So a little Easter egg in this image is this desk back here is actually, and I need to finish drawing it. I need to go, in fact, let me go find a photo. I think there is a photo of it online somewhere. Where would that be? Oh, actually, I know where it is. See if I can get it pulled up here. It is, I'll just spoil it right now. It's it's the desk I grew up with that the Atari ST was typically on. Oh, actually, I found a photo just the other day of it. So let me get this pulled up here for you. See if I can get this to pop up. Hey, it's much more. How you doing? I saw that. I don't know why your message was retracted there. That was weird. Anyways, I saw that you just followed me on Twitter. Thanks for following me, man. Thanks for joining me today as I paint something for to celebrate Atari's 50th. Let's see here. I am adding. Let's do this. I'm going to go to studio mode and add a window capture. Yeah, whatever. Don't care what it's called. And I want it to be this. There we go. Okay. So, here is the desk. And you can, let me see. So this desk right here in the back is this desk right here. And this was the desk that was almost, it wasn't made for the ST, but you can see that probably my dad built this little bay for the disk drive. And this would be a 520 ST. I know later they had a 1040 ST, and that was the one I grew up with most of the time, but we still had that 520 for a while. But yeah, and the monitor's there, and my mom probably did these dust covers, and they got a printer too. Can't remember the brand. I showed the receipt on an earlier stream. I still have the receipt for this computer, by the way. My mom was an accountant, so she kind of kept all those receipts. But yeah, that's what I grew up with right there. that computer. And it's awesome that we still have we have some photos. This isn't the only photo I have of it. I think I have 2 or 3 other photos. I don't know where they are right now, but yeah, so that's the desk here in the background. So I wanted to make sure I got some personal Easter eggs in there. But just purchased a Jaguar yesterday. Well, welcome to the club. It's an interesting club. I hope you have a good time. If you're looking for suggestions, ask for them in the chat. But what I always suggest to people is get a copy of Iron Soldier. Great first-person mech game, shooter mech game. We actually played a little bit of Iron Soldier 2 the other week, which is another sequel. It's a sequel to that, obviously, which is an exclusive for the Jag. Tempest 2000 is a must-have. It's the killer app, of course. Those are my 2 that I tell everybody to get. There's plenty of other good games on it, and I'm sure the chat can fill you in on that. Dataset user, good morning. Good to see you. Well, let me pull that out. Since we're on memory lane here, I have the receipt here somewhere. It's in one of my books here. And I will... So I have a future book. That I'm working on another book right now. That will have images of these receipts. And so let's see here. They paid Atari 520 Color ST and a Citizen 120D printer and 1 IBM cable, whatever that is. I assume that's a parallax cable. The total came out to $1,216. So that was not a bad price from what I understand back then. And the date is November 14th, 1986. That's when they bought it. So a year after the game or that computer came out. So really cool. I'm looking to bring JagFest, eJagFest to the Video Game Convention Expo I'm planning. Awesome. Are you in the States? It's much more. Are you in the States? Baldi's is one of my favorite Jaguar games, and there are some videos of it on this channel. Yeah, so Baldi's is our go-to game when I don't want to think about what game to play. And this is... So I played it when I was a kid. I played Baldi's when I was a kid, but I was too young to really understand what was going on. And so it's been great going through that again, because the first 10 levels are a bit slow, but now it's getting really difficult. And I believe that game has 100 levels. And so I'm a little concerned about going any further, because if it's already this hard, man, imagine it in another 20 levels. So. But yeah. Still got that receipt for my Atari ST and for the family's Atari ST. Unfortunately, I don't have the ST anymore. I went out of the States for a few years, and my family was cleaning house or my parents were cleaning house because they were prepping to move, and they threw all that stuff out because they thought nobody wanted it while I was gone. And so I was pretty angry. Thankfully, they kept the Jag stuff. Most of my Jag stuff is original, bought back in the 90s, a lot of it bought by my brothers, but yeah, sadly not in the States. I'm in the UK. I've just purchased Checkered Flag, so that's going to be my first game into the world of Jaguar. Well, not the best entry. Here's the thing, it's not the worst game in the world. It has its problems. It is playable. I think it has pretty good music, actually. I always enjoy the music on that game. But yeah, it has a bad rap for a good reason. The frame rate is a big issue. Controls are they take some time to get used to that as well. But yeah, I love the music. I love the look of it. If it just ran a little bit smoother, would have been awesome. But it was early 3D on the Jag. Their engine was very underdeveloped, and so, but it's there. And the collection is the Atari collection that's coming out is going to have Checkered Flag, as far as we know. So there's a picture of the box art inside of the logo, the Atari logo, if I remember correctly. So hasn't been officially announced, but it will be there. So okay. Looks like Virtual Racing, a little A little so. It's the first game, so it'll be okay to start the collection. Yeah, and it's not a bad game to have in the collection. You know, something I haven't done with that game in a while. I believe it's multiplayer. It's 2-player. Wonder if it runs any better. Probably doesn't. It probably doesn't run any better, but it would be more fun as a 2-player game. Anyways, let me drop this picture really quick. Enough of memory lane. So this desk had 2 shelves. It had this first shelf here, and then it had a slightly deeper shelf below, if I remember correctly. So something like that. Let's see here. There we go. There. Yeah, there's all sorts of little perspective issues here, but I don't know if I want to worry about it too much because I have some pretty loose brushwork going on. And I can correct for some of that while I'm doing the brushwork. Anyways, I think I'll get started. Actually, before I get started, I do want to look up. I can't see my Atari 800 right now. I have a dust cover on it, and so I need to take a look at its layout. Atari 800 images. There you are. We have our row of buttons on the right, keyboard in the center, and it kind of has a curve going up. Grate in the back. Yeah, that's fairly simple. So it has a keyboard right here. Has that set of keys here on the side. Has the controller ports down here. And then it kind of curves up here in the front where the logo is, and that's going to be pretty important to recognize it. Is the logo centered? I don't think it's centered. Yeah, it's off to the side. So the Atari logo is right there, and then the model number and everything, and then goes back like that. So something like that. Let's see here. What does the front of that look like? Games re-up _ space _ Good afternoon, all. Thanks for joining. I believe you're a new face as well, so if this is your first time, definitely thanks for joining. We are just painting today. A little illustration that may be an entry for this year's Silly Venture. Anyways, there's our Atari 800. I'm not sure what it's sitting on yet. Maybe it's just another table or something. Oh, I know what we can do. We'll do a table that actually goes off the frame. At an angle. Kind of covers up the foot. Perspective isn't right on that. Let's see here. We did something like that, maybe. Nah, if I want to do a surface, I want it to line up with the front of the console, or at least get close. But Power Drive Rally is a fun Atari Jaguar racing game. I really enjoy Power Drive Rally, although it can be difficult if you keep crashing a car, as evidenced in a previous live stream. Yep, that's true. Yeah, I really enjoy Power Drive Rally. Again, that has some fun music in it as well, at least in the title screens and the transitions, if I remember right. I enjoy the music in that. Visually, it's beautiful. It's a very good looking game. I played the... Recently, I played the Sega Genesis Mega Drive version of the game, and that was the first time I ever tried that. And it's good. I assume it came out before the Jag version because there's it feels like a prototype when compared with the Jag version. So anyways, I don't want to spend, I need to put it on something. That's my problem here. You need to put it on, maybe the perspective is throwing me off a bit. Let's start over. This needs to be pushed up a little bit, like that. This comes down like that. Yeah, if something doesn't feel right, probably the perspective. I want this to come down a bit more because I want to put some cartridges up there. Yeah, Power Drive Rally is really good. If you're looking for another good racer, but it's kind of difficult to play right now because it's a CD game, is World Tour Racing, sorry. Which I believe, yeah, I played that on stream not too long ago as well. Yes, the Atari Jaguar version is considered the sequel to the Sega Genesis game. It was not a port of the game. They created a new game for the console. Yeah, and I noticed that it was quite a bit different, and so, but is it just called, don't they have the same name though? Maybe I'm being nitpicky here in terms of what is considered a sequel, but anyways, the Genesis version is more than playable. It's a fun game too. Like, what I like, they found a very good balance in terms of the physics in that. They just feel really nice. And I recall that the Mega Drive or the Genesis version was had that feeling too, which was good. Okay. Put some cartridges here on the table. At least one. And maybe we'll have a joystick coming out of port 1 over here. We'll just run the cable off the table, something like that. Maybe we'll put some VHSs or something down here that are just inside the shot like that. Okay. So I kind of got the Jaguar kind of roughed in here. For the reference, I should be using it. And my Jag sitting right next to me. Drawn it quite a few times now, and so I can do a lot of it from memory, but not all of it. Something like that. It's close. Close enough. Push this out a little bit further, get rid of that tangent. No, the original is called Power Drive. Oh, okay, cool. That's I didn't notice that they had a different name. Makes sense. Maybe we'll do, I need to look up an old VCR design. Put an old VCR here. On this shelf, on the inside. Yeah, something like that. Cool. No, too steep. Cables running off that way. We have Jaguar controller that's just poking into the shot over here. Yeah. And then our Atari Links is sitting nearby. Right here. Yeah, you draw these a few times. You start to at least come up with a basic symbol that resembles the console pretty darn well. Oh, I'm doing a Links 2 because that's what I grew up with. I know some people prefer that Links 1 look. Anyways, there's our Links. Put a game or two over here. Move our cartridge. This is an interview with Phil Nixon, who worked on the game, where he discusses the changes made for the sequel. So you may not be able to post links. I need to find... I'm sure there's an option to toggle. Let me see if I can find it. So Phil Nixon, Power Drive Rally. Let's see if I can find it for you. Let me switch over to the browser. And it's gone. Let's see if I can find it again. Not that one. Here. There we go. Phil Nixon. Power Drive Rally. There it is. Atari Forum. Another good Atari forum. Arcade Attack. Oh, cool. Arcade Attack did an interview for him. That's awesome. With him. Not for him. With him. That's cool. So there's the interview, and there's the web address, and you can find it. We're not going to go through it today, but just show people that I assume this is the same interview with Tani. Let me know. If not, I'll do a deeper search. I don't want that one. Switch back over to this. Okay, one other detail I want to get in here before I start painting is the cable off the classic controller. Yes, you found it. Good. Good. Got the classic controller here. Yeah. Its shape isn't quite right, but again, not too worried about that. Ooh, do I have a classic controller I can look at? I do not. I need to figure out where the cable comes out of that. Atari Classic Controller. Really, I just need to see where it comes out relative to the button. So we're not going to be able to see the button very well, but it does come out of the top right corner, it looks like. On Telegames, currently having a look around. Oh, the Telegames website. I was after our last stream. Was it our last stream? Yeah, 2 streams ago when I was talking about where you can get Iron Soldier 2. I actually took some time to look around the Telegames website, and because I hadn't done that in a while. He actually has quite a bit up. That he or she, I don't know who's running it, but I'll just assume he right now, has quite a lot on that website, which is cool. But what was I doing? Cable. That's what I was doing. Okay, let's do the cable. So the cable comes out of this corner here, and there is a lot of painting apps have this now. They have a stabilizer, which allows you to get these nice, smooth lines. It's a cool feeling when you're drawing too, because it's like the best way I can explain it is if you've tried to drag something through the sand from a distance. So imagine in your mind that you have a stone and you've tied a string around that stone, and you're dragging the stone by the string through sand. That's what it feels like when you have the stabilizer on. So it's kind of cool. Smooths out the line really nice. Still some nice Jag games on Telegames. Yeah, I actually did purchase a cartridge copy of Iron Soldier 2 because I hadn't done that yet. And they had it just a little bit cheaper than Songbird over there. So that's where I got it. But yeah, there's still some nice games over there. He has some CD games. I believe he sells CD copies of Iron Soldier 2, if I recall correctly from the stream. But anyways, I'm not sure. I was thinking of straddling the cable like that over the leg, because that feels nice. Makes it feel a little more three-dimensional. We could run it down to the ground and have it kind of snake around the portfolio like that. That's not bad either. we could do something dramatic and have it drape down like this, come up over the shoulder or something. Do something like that. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna do that. I kind of like having it draped, almost like a piece of cloth. So if we have it come out because it's a little bit rigid, and then drape down like that. So see if I can get this so it feels good. So that feels pretty good. And I think I'm just gonna have it come up over her leg like that. Actually, this is what we're gonna do because she has that floppy disk in her hand, that ST floppy disk. I kind of want it. I want that to be kind of a focal point. So hands and faces are really important when you're dealing with people in illustrations, and so I wanted to make sure that there was something interesting in both of her hands. So the floppy disk is obviously one of those right here, and then her controlling the joystick is the other one. So because the classic controller is such an iconic symbol, I've ran into people that have no idea who Atari is, but they've seen that controller. That's how iconic it is, at least for the next decade or so. Before, sorry, I shouldn't be such a pessimist, but I was about to say before Atari fades into obscurity again. Hopefully they don't. But yeah, very iconic. So many people, you know, I didn't grow up with Atari in their heyday, but as a kid from the late 80s and early 90s, you were around a lot of people that had Atari 2600s in their home. And so I met so many people that had no idea what the Jaguar was growing up, and still today, but they know what a 2600 is. Because everybody had a 2600. It was ubiquitous. It was, hopefully I'm using that word right. It was it was just everywhere. It was like VCRs. Everybody had their VCR, and everybody had their Atari 2600. So, pretty cool. I feel like Atari rested on their laurels with that, though, and that's what hurt them in the long run. Sorry, I'm kind of getting nitpicky with that portfolio there. So I have this garbage can. Maybe I want to add some details here, or at least get an idea of what I want to do there. I wanted to do the garbage can because one of my favorite movies is Hackers from 1994 with Angelina Jolie. It was one of her first roles, I believe. Hey Dataset user, thanks for the instant message. I will check it out. Everyone had an Atari 2600 except for those delinquents who chose ColecoVision or Intellivision. Yeah, those degenerates, right? No, I did have I remember we had an Intellivision. We never played it as much because we didn't have as many games. This is a problem actually, where this is sitting now. I remember there was a dragon game on the Intellivision, and I loved that game. You were like it was like a top view, like maze thing, and there was a dragon. I just remember that being so fascinating on the Intellivision. This isn't right. Don't know why I'm getting so picky about this. There we go. Good enough. But yeah, I remember that. I don't remember the name of the game. And then there was a skiing game that was a lot of fun. Outside of that, I don't remember much. But I just noticed my Jaguar isn't updating. I wonder why. Let's take a look. Something happened. There we go. It's weird, it froze up. I'm just happy that the stream hasn't crashed yet. I'm very happy about that. Because I'm doing a screen recording while in a different instance of OBS. ColecoVision trolled Atari hard when they created an expansion module to play Atari games on their. Oh man! And back then, that was brand new ground. There was no legal precedent for that. And I'm sure Atari went after them. Old habits die hard, apparently. Well, this pulled up just a little bit more. One thing I'm not sure is what to put on our shirt. Like, I was gonna put a 50. I don't like that though. Kind of like a football jersey or something. I'm not keen on that idea though. So if any of you have any ideas of what to put on our shirt, for a t-shirt, let me know. That's something that can be added later on for sure. Like, I'm not too worried about it right now. Just pushing out these shelves a little bit more. We need to put something on those shelves. What could we put on those shelves? What was on those shelves growing up? Usually garbage, probably. We could put a few more controllers. We could, what else? We could just do some books. Boxes, we could do some boxes. So some games I grew up with on the ST were Blood Money, and that has a very distinct spine label that we could create an impression of. So maybe we'll do that. We'll have that. I really do like that game. Blood Money's really good. Blood Money. Oh, Star Glider. So I'm gonna put blood here, and we're gonna do a Star Glider box. Star Glider 2 specifically. Star. So I don't forget. Did you ever have gaming magazines growing up? I always kept a few around my room. We could add them to the image. Oh, that is a good point. I actually didn't, but I do have a bit of a collection now that I've picked up over the years from people selling their old Atari stuff. ST Log and what was there was another one, I can't remember the name, but yeah, maybe we'll stick those next to the garbage can to fill in this space here. Let's see here, is there a better place? Yeah, let's just do them over here. We'll do a few magazines just laying about here. Something like that. Have one poking out here on the side. And we can look up some. There's one I have. Gosh, can I pull that out right now easily? I don't think I can. I have that in storage here somewhere. There is one. It has the coolest cover on it. It's the Atari logo, but they superimposed it so it onto on a CRT screen, and it looks like it's coming out of the screen. Really cool effect. I'd be interested to know how they actually created that effect back in the 80s. I think it's from around 82, 83. So we may try to imitate that as a cover. Really cool cover. Okay, back to the garbage can. Like, the most important thing in this image. And I was talking about hackers. So in Hackers, there is this MacGyver montage where they got a copy of the worm that they don't know is a worm yet, the virus or whatever, and they're trying to figure out what it is. And so there's this cool montage with numbers and equations flying past their heads. Anyways, they're looking through long rolls of feed paper. So it's the stuff that has the printer feed paper. It has the holes on the side, and they're looking through piles of that. And so I kind of wanted a couple strands coming out of the garbage can here of feed paper. Maybe they're going over the magazines like that. And so I wanted that to be a little bit of a reference to that movie. I really do like that movie. I like it way more than it deserves. It's so when people ask me what my favorite movies are, I have two lists. I have my my serious list, and then I have my, and again, they're not really lists. I haven't thought about it that much, but let's see if I can get rid of that tangent there. There we go. And then I have my funny list, and and Hackers is on my funny list because it's not a great film at all, but it is one that I grew up with, one that I have a whole lot of nostalgia for, and it's so full of character. There's our printer feed paper, and there'll be just an impression of just lines and lines of byte code on them. Maybe we'll have another sheet poking out back here. So yeah, there's that. War Games was a great movie about a supercomputer almost starting a world war with the Soviets. Have not seen that movie yet. I'm familiar with it. Like my family's talked about it, and obviously YouTube talks about it a lot as a classic film. Like that. There we go. Just a few pieces of paper filling up that garbage can. There we go. You know, one last thing I was thinking of putting on this ST desk back here. It was either a pile of floppies or like a soda can or something, because it wasn't Mountain Dew a big thing in the 80s. The only reason I'm hesitant of doing that is I don't have memories of that, and so it'd be more of playing to the audience that's gonna see this, what they enjoy. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out that shape back there with her hair a little bit more, because that's going to be important. Her silhouette's going to be the most defined once we start painting, so I want to make sure that's really well defined before we start. If we start, man, it's already 7:30. Time flew by. And the only reason I was considering a soda can is that's going to be a lot more readable in the final image, whereas a stack of floppies will not be as readable. I do have the mouse there, the ST mouse. I'm just trying to think what might be ubiquitous with desktops back then. So there was a file organizer on the picture that I showed of the desk that I had, but aside from this Atari Jaguar, I got the only thing Atari I have are the Evercade cards. Oh, that's right, the Evercade. Oh, so I should have assumed that Atari wouldn't have to endorse the Links games on those. So I don't know if Atari had anything to do with those Evercade cards outside of them being Atari games that were released on the Links. New Coke was a famous drink failure of the 1980s. There was also Crystal Pepsi. That might be fun, but a Coke can would be a lot more recognizable for sure. And I still haven't figured out. Maybe I will wait until tomorrow to start painting, because I actually have not thought about her colors yet. Specifically, what color her shirt and her pants are going to be. So I'm pretty sure her hair, she's going to be a blonde, because she has kind of this curly hair thing going on, and so maybe I'll wait until I figure out her colors before I decide what else to put on that desk, because whatever I put here is going to be very noticeable. And so if it's Coke can, I want to. The color's red, and that's the only reason why I'm debating not using a Coke can, because everybody will look at that Coke can first if it's red. So maybe I shouldn't worry about it. Maybe I shouldn't put anything there. unless it's like a short stack of blue and gray discs or something. So the reason why I put the ST monitor right here is it's going to be green. It's going to be the little green desktop, and that's going to bring everybody up to this shape in her face, which is really, really important. And then the next place I want them to go to is over here. This will be lit up with the blue of the Atari 800 console output terminal. And so her arm is going to be lit really blue down here, and her pants are, it's going to have that blue as well. And I want the view to go like this over here to the Jaguar. And so we kind of have this spiral going here in this area, coming out here to where the Jaguar logo is over here. So Jaguar logo is going to be over there. And so yeah, so that's the idea. And so I'm worried about putting anything too noticeable in this space right here, because I kind of like, I have this mess of detail going on here that this is where the viewer is going to be most of the time, is right here. And I want this to kind of be a place where the eye can relax a little bit, or if I want to put a message, and that's why I was thinking the 50 might be right there in that space. But anyways, so yeah, maybe we'll forgo the code camp. And I may be ending the stream early today because, yeah, I just realized I haven't thought about the colors. And I don't really want to start painting until I decide what I want to do for her specifically. When I was a gamer, I always made sure I had a stash of snacks for long sessions. I don't see any snacks. Empty pizza boxes everywhere. But we don't need the image to be too realistic. Yeah. Well, and so that's why I'm kind of interested in doing the soda can. I had that thought because that's true. Like looking at, again, I didn't grow up in that era, but looking at old like demo scene images and that I've, just passively picked up on over the years as I've read and looked into it. There's, like you said, there's always pizza boxes. And so maybe we'll stack a couple pizza boxes down here. I don't mind putting a bunch of detail down here because we're kind of, so this is the back wall, right? And this is the molding at the back wall. And so that's a framing device. And so I don't mind putting detail down here. I want to keep this simple so it's really easy to read. It's like, oh yeah, that's an Atari symbol flipped on its side. And so... yeah, so maybe we have those magazines down there. In fact, that's actually really good to put like a pizza box or something down here because I like the idea of the magazines and the pizza box, right? Because those are things that you consume and then toss away, typically speaking, So I like that idea. So maybe we'll do that. I'm gonna think about it here for a second while I draw this little Jaguar cart. Don't know what game I'm gonna put in there yet. It'll probably be Tempest 2000, is my guess, because that's kind of the game that defines the Jag, right? The game for the 64-bit Atari Jaguar system. This Jaguar is actually really poorly drawn. It's skewed. It's good enough. People are going to be able to recognize it. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's do some research. And I may show this as well. Just give me a second. So 80s 80s snacks. Let's see if there's something that I recognize that might be... See, the other issue is with like snacks is it's just going to be in a box. And so, well, and I can make it recognizable by painting in the right colors and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that would be quintessential 80s. Dunkaroos, wow. Dr. Pepper. I love Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything. So, not that. Not that. Yeah, I think a soda can is what it would have to be if I did want to do something. You know, I could put a soda can like right up in front here, in front of the Atari 800, like right here. I could put it up. In fact, this would be a better place. Is up here on top of the TV, just poking out from behind that 2600. So if I did it right there, like that. Actually, don't mind that. So it's like, so the reason why it's up there is she came over, she had it in her hand, stuck a game in the Jaguar, and or she put it up on top of the screen before she put the knelt down or bent over to put the game in the Jag. And she left it up there. Something like that. Sure, why not? That sounds like a believable story, right? So yeah, maybe we'll put a soda can up there. Get the little tab sticking up. I actually like that. That adds a little bit of depth there, and it isn't going to. It's a good place to end, right? So we have that 2600, and we can make that 2600 stick out by putting a red can up there. So yeah, good idea. Thank you, Vitani. I don't bounce my ideas off of other people enough, to tell you the truth, when it comes to my artwork, so it feels good to have a little bit of feedback on this. Oh, got some games on the shelf there. Maybe we'll do a few more. Just tilt it over like this. Maybe we'll do, oh no, I don't think, did Atari have any of those, I know other companies did, like, I have a, was it done by Antic? It's done by somebody. Anyways, it's a nice, it was like IBM that did those nice boxes for the manuals and the software, the nice slipcase boxes. I have some Atari software, I think it's, like stocks or something. That came in these nice purple slipcase boxes, so maybe we'll do something like that. Gosh, let me look up pizza boxes really quick from the 80s. 80s pizza box. Domino's, that's a pretty iconic box. Has a nice chamfer in the front of the box, so maybe we'll do that. And the Domino's box is going to be very recognizable, at least for Americans. I don't know if you guys even have Domino's over in Europe. I assume you do. It's just pizza, but I'm not gonna say for sure. So if we did an open pizza box, maybe we'll have this poking out too. So we did. Let's see here. Pizza box. Then we have it tilted back like that, a little too far back. So we'll be dropping this magazine here. Maybe we flip it around. Do it. Do it right here. Our angle's a little too steep for that, maybe. Because we did like the pizza box, like right here. Something like that. I just don't like it cutting up like that. I like the stair-stepping we're doing right here, so we have this nice stair-stepping going on it. very satisfying. I don't want to ruin that. I just looked at Domino's website. Almost every single European country has at least one location. Yeah, and I was in Asia for a few years, and they had Domino's over there. And so I'm just like, they probably have it in Europe. So they have it over in the Eastern Bloc. I'm sure they have it in the Western Bloc. So, well, we could swap out the Atari portfolio for a pizza box. You know, that would actually be a little more interesting to look at, but I do want to try to fit another ST or another Atari console in there. And so I think we're going to keep the portfolio where it is. You know what I could do? Again, this still breaks up this area that I want to kind of preserve, is I could turn the pizza box so it's on its side, so it's just really just a mess. So it folds right there, then opens up, and then we'll know it's a pizza box. Maybe have a slice sitting out like that. I don't like what it's doing to the space there. No, I'm not gonna force this. We're not doing a pizza box. Not there anyways. Maybe as I paint, its position, where it belongs, will reveal itself to me. So, anyways. Okay. I think I got the sketch where I want it. Picking up a lot of static. Sorry, it's my mic. And I wish I could get this. I spent like 3 or 4 hours. Well, I'm not getting anything on the levels. Sure, it isn't just the music. Let me turn that up. Yeah, I got some music playing. Maybe I should just turn that off. Maybe that's throwing you guys off. There could just be a hum going on. See, you guys say static, and so when I think of static, I think of like TV static. When I touch the mic, it should be a hum, like a low. Like it's not even showing up right now. There it is. That's the hum. So, and I know sometimes it will catch and it will stay on for a bit and then it will go away. But anyways, you know what? I think I'm gonna stop there for today. If you guys want to chat for a bit, it's not the hum of touching the microphone. That's interesting. Well, I'll go back and today and I'll listen to the stream. Let me see if I can remember the time code here. Time code is. Oh, I'm not. Let's see here. Can I get to it? The time code would be an hour, about an hour 28 minutes. Yeah, I'll go listen to that and see if I can figure that out, because I understand that can be really frustrating, annoying to hear that on a stream. So, audio is 50% of the picture. Yeah, I'm really liking the way this illustration's coming out. What we'll do, I don't want to start painting because there's still some things I need to think about with this. So I'm gonna take some time as I'm doing my day job today to think about that, and we'll start painting tomorrow. I'm gonna be working on this again tomorrow. Thanks for the feedback and the ideas. So I'm thinking what I'll probably end up doing with their shirt is just a stripe pattern, because, and the reason why is Atari's actually seems to be doing that. Seems to be the motif with their branding for this celebration. So doing some sort of 3-stripe pattern in retro colors. I'm thinking about doing a beige with her t-shirt with a brown and a yellow to kind of match the Atari 800. The only reason I'd be doing that is because it would look good. I would like to have something that's a little bit more meaningful, but, well, it's an overall great stream. Best of luck with your thought process. Can't wait to see your Bob Ross performance next time when you paint. Oh, I'm nowhere near as good as Bob Ross, but I probably shouldn't be painting live. I don't think I'm good enough to do it. But I figured this might be something that you guys might like to see. And it's been good for me, too, to get some feedback on this. So thank you, Vitani. But yeah, I may just do a stripe pattern. They're attractive anyways. They look good in general. And so we may just do something like that. And that does have a retro feel to it. Just the stripe pattern. It'd be nice to have something a little more meaningful right there. But the stripes work well. And here's the thing. You know what? I think we are going to do stripes for her shirt. And here's why. Because we have this stripe pattern up here on the wall. It'll be a good repetition to have the stripes down here. So that's what we're going to do for a t-shirt. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll do some stripes. I just need to figure out the colors. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a beige, and then we'll do some sort of color. I kind of want it to match this console down here because that feels very retro again. But yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think stripes are good. And we do have other stripes going on here too. We have this kind of the desk back here. These are visually stripes, right? And so having that feel, that kind of that platform in the image is kind of nice. Kind of keeps everything right here, and then people can then choose to travel to look at all those cool consoles. So, anyways, yeah, it's good. I'm liking the way this is looking. I was a little worried when I started this that I was rushing it. That's always a concern when I feel like I'm doing things last minute. But yeah. But yeah, unless there's anything you guys want to talk about for a second, I may just end the stream here early though. Let me know here really quick. It's much more. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you joined our relatively small Jaguar club. I love the Jaguar. I've always liked playing it. There's a lot of great games on it. There's a lot of great new games on it that are worth the time. Oh, did I add a layer? Why did I add a layer? That's weird. Definitely worth having. Even outside of collecting, it's worth having just to play some of those games. Some of the exclusives, Tempest 2000 obviously is a must. Yeah. There's lots of good games. Ultra Vortex is really good. Iron Soldier's really good. Even some of the puzzle games like Flip Out, which I don't think was an exclusive. I'm pretty sure that was on DOS too, but nobody played it on DOS. They played it on the Jag, and that's a really fun game. Definitely worth getting. I'm trying to think of some cheaper games you can still get that are good. Here, I'm gonna cheat. Pull up a list. Because yeah, I always recommend Iron Soldier and Tempest 2000. Rayman, obviously, but you can get a PlayStation version of that, which is arguably a better version of the game because it has FMVs or something. There's been some interesting controversy over that. There's Doom, which is, again, not an exclusive, but really good. Zool 2 is a really good platformer. A lot of fun. iWar, sorry, is really good as well. Atari Carts, if you can afford a copy that's really expensive. Again, I'm trying to find cheaper copies. And then there's obviously Alien vs. Predator. Not my favorite game, but still a really good game. And an exclusive on the Jag. Raiden is really good, and that should be relatively affordable as well. It's really good. Missile Command 3D, which I believe you can purchase a copy of that from Telegames. I think they still had copies of that. If you can't get it there, it seemed like Songbird has copies of it. Somebody still has copies of Missile Command that you can get for, not $400 basically. So it sucks that we have to speak in terms like that, but yeah, really good. I wouldn't suggest Bubsy. I don't like Bubsy at all. But yeah, be sure to look at Homebrew too. If you're planning on playing the console, if you're planning on just collecting, yeah, just go for the official games. But but there's plenty of really good homebrew out there. Asterite and Gravitic Mines Rebooted is really good, which is a compilation of a bunch of reboots games. So you get like Tetris and a few other puzzle games. You get some remakes of some classics like Highway on the Atari 2600. It's just a chicken cross the road type game, kind of like Frogger, but without the complexity of the different I don't want to say obstacles, just it's a little bit simplified. It's a simplified Frogger. So I would suggest getting Cybermorph. I know that's kind of the meme game on the Jaguar, but it's pretty good for what it is. It's, if you're going in expecting Star Fox, of course you're going to be disappointed, and I'm not going to deny that was kind of their goal with it, is to, like, we got to make our Star Fox. I'm not going to deny that they were doing that, but it's not Star Fox. It's just you're given a few mission objectives and you fly around and you complete those objectives. It is what it is. It looks good, plays fine. My biggest issue with Cybermorph is no music. Second biggest issue is levels get repetitive after a while. They should have cut out like 60% of the levels. It would have been a much shorter game, but it would have been far more interesting because you weren't repeating mission types. But oh, and thanks again for demonstrating Gravitic Mines again. Ordered it a few days ago. Yeah, no problem. Gravitic Mines is in my opinion, a must-buy, even if you are just collecting, because it is a very, very good homebrew game. Very professional. Battlemorph is better than Cybermorph. Yeah, Battlemorph is better. The only reason I wasn't suggesting that is most people, first of all, can't afford a CD unit, and they're going to just get rarer. That does bring up another thing. Is much more. There is an SD card reader now for the Jag called the Game Drive, and you can purchase that. I don't know everywhere you can purchase that, but if you just search like Atari Age Game Drive, you can find references for that. It's expensive. I think it's $180 an hour, or maybe $200. But that gives you access to the entire Jaguar library, almost the entire Jaguar library. The CD emulation is still being worked on, but the hope is that will eventually be worked out as well. So, yeah. But yeah, welcome to the world of Jaguar collecting. It's unfortunately very expensive now. Just in the last 2 years, everything just shot right up. So it's kind of a bad time to get into it, probably. But there are still a handful of games that are worth getting. Get a copy of Club Drive. That's a fun multiplayer game. There's a Powerball collection thing, and because the physics and everything in that game are kind of wonky, it's a lot of fun to play with with two people who aren't serious about it. I remember having really good memories playing that with siblings growing up. Very fun game. Kids will probably enjoy that one too once they get used to the controls. So yeah, Club Drive is really good. I'm just trying to spot anything else that I would recommend for a first time, particularly that's exclusive. You could get a copy of Hover Strike if you're familiar with Battlezone, which is a classic Atari game. It's a first-person shooter, 3D shooter. Hover Strike is basically the upgraded iteration of that game in the 90s, and it doesn't run very fast. Again, the 3D's slow, but it is playable. And I enjoy the game, but I can see why people don't enjoy it because of the frame rate. But yeah, definitely worth getting. Oh, a really good one on the Jag that I love is Brutal Sports Football. It's a 2D sports game, for the time, violent, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Again, another really good multiplayer game. Once you figure out how to lop off heads consistently, you actually just stop playing the football part of the game. It just turns into basically genocide. You just wipe out the other team and you win that way. You win by default. Anyways, if you do have a CD unit, yeah, definitely get Battlemorph, get Iron Soldier 2. You can get those brand new still. Telegames is selling it, and Songbird is selling those brand new. And they're official. What else is a good one? Like, I always suggest Space Ace and Dragon Slayer, but that's because I am biased towards I do like Don Bluth. Anything that Don Bluth makes. And so I always suggest those. But yeah, outside of that, that's about it for the Atari Jaguar CD, to tell you the truth. Highlander, if you want an experience. It's not a pleasant experience, but it is an experience. But Cannon Fodder and Rayman are fun. Yeah, Cannon Fodder is really good, and affordable too. It's not an exclusive, but it plays really well on the Jag. And Rayman's really good too. So, yeah, I think that's it for my recommendations. Oh, Baldi's. Baldi's would be a good CD game to get as well if you like the real-time strategy stuff. I've been pleasantly surprised with Baldi's, and I'm looking forward to getting back to it on the stream, playing a few more levels. So, and my joke recommendation is Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy. We all know that is the best game, the absolute best, the greatest game, some might say, of for the Jaguars. Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy. So definitely get a copy of that. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna call that a stream, everybody. Let me switch back over so you can see my pretty mug. Yeah, thanks for joining me, Vitani, dataset user. It's much more Bob Dunlock. Great to see you there. And games re-up. I assume that's how you say it. If you're still here, thanks for joining. It's great to see new faces here. And Matt Smith, thanks for joining me. Great to see you as well. If you're seeing this after the fact, or if you're lurking in the chat there, please like and subscribe. Click on that bell icon. I know when I start the stream, at least I get a notification for that. If you don't want to do that here on YouTube, follow me on Twitter and Facebook. There's links in the description there as well. And we will get to painting tomorrow rather than just drawing. Anyways, thanks again for joining me. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye.